There's so much we need to get to that I didn't figure people wanted just to hear me flapping my gums, right? It's like, stop flapping your gums, Mabel. But
there was a lot
I guarantee you
a lot
that between WTO, where's the outrage, of course, and DC, I mean, there's so much, but I want to start with something a little, I don't know if the word innocuous, but you know that old saying that good things come in little packages?
I mean,
well, you know, it's funny. It's funny you should bring that up,
but
because it turns out that probably the shortest emperor in history, Napoleon, apparently there's a big news article out that not only was he short in stature, but he was short in schmeckle, which would be about, you know, apparently it's an inch and a half. And wait,
what? How would you even?
Because the doctor who treated him after he died cut it off, and it has been auctioned off, and it has been passed around the world. So, see, I thought so. No, look, I've been to Napoleon's tomb in France, and I always thought that like all of him was in the tomb, but apparently there was a piece missing.
Yeah.
Now wait, so you don't so.
Not his. Wait, can we say?
You know, I mean, they
say the word?
They do say in the article. So
penis?
I mean, so apparently he dies 203 years ago, and the legendary petite private part was last known to be in the hands of an Englewood, New Jersey urologist who bought it at a Paris auction in 1977. You know, it's 77, but it opens up the questions. First of all, I mean, look, I like buying stuff at auction. Okay, I've never had private parts being auctioned off that I know of.
Right,
but I mean. You know, you want to talk about owning a piece of history? You're speechless. You're speechless. I love that part.
I think that. Well, I'm thinking this is going to come out very rude, and somebody listening is going to
get ready to bleep her. Get ready to bleep her.
You know, I feel like I'm like. I think I know everything I need to know about you if you buy a penis at auction. I just feel like that's all I need to know about you as a human being to kind of know you.
The doctor who
Is
bought
that wrong?
The Napoleon's private parts. Now you got to remember the guy's 5'5", so he's 5'5" and an inch and a half. So it makes you understand why he had this inferiority complex. Just to start with, I mean, there was nothing significant about him other than his military victories.
Poor guy.
Well, poor Josephine, when you really think about it. But in any event, this guy also was into, he did research on Abraham Lincoln and JFK assassinations.
Well, wait, hold on. Robert. How do we know that he wasn't a grower and not a shower?
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Because that's the thing.
Okay.
It's totally.
I'm not even going there. The fact that this is an auctionable item, and that someone sort of, they cut it off, and that anyway. However, segue.
Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No. Well, this sets the tone and demeanor for the show, because the show is going to be all about small things. So I figured we would start out with small things, and no, it's not a monologue. But speaking of small things, who's in the news again? One of my many girlfriends, Hillary Rodham Clinton. She does an interview for the New York Times, and she says, and I quote, "Well, the reason I lost in 2016 is because women left me because I wasn't perfect." And you sit there and go,
so women are sexist now.
So she's being interviewed, and you know how we like to pull up articles, because, this is how I find all my crap. Anyways, right? Because supposed to be perfect. They left me because they just couldn't take a risk on me, because as a woman, I'm supposed to be perfect. They're willing to take a risk on Trump, who had a long list of, let's call them flaws, to illustrate his imperfection, because he was a man, and they could envision a man as president and commander in chief. I mean, she's like the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, and by the way, wait a minute, 2016, 2020, we're like 2.5 elections away from that, and she's still like, ripping her clothes, meaning, and pounding her chest.
It's all someone else's fault but hers? Like, what, dude? No, you just suck, and everyone hates you. Why can't you just admit it?
I sit there and I go, it's, and the truth is, on a very serious note, in my lifetime, if you trace back where I think politics is always, right, like sausage making. It's always, the process is, bloody and ugly, but if it's done right and seasoned properly, the sausage is delicious at the end of the process. That's an analogy people often use for politics, right? But if I have to go back in history, in my lifetime at least, and where I think politics sort of went off the rail in terms of, relative ethics and decency, as opposed to power and win at all costs. And there's certainly exceptions to that. But it was the Clinton administration and the Clinton years and the foreign money. And people forget Johnny Wong and the Buddhist temple. And, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Right. And all those other things where I sit here and I go, and she's still, like pounding her chest that she was somehow robbed. And in this case, she was robbed because women left her because she's supposed to be perfect. No, you weren't supposed to be perfect, Hillary. You were just supposed to be not be a cretin, right? You were supposed to
just not a butthole.
Right.
You were not supposed to offend
only
everyone
half. The
in
basket
the
of deplorables, right? Totally arrogant, totally dismissive.
Oh, my bad.
I mean, one of the things I think all politicians who are successful in office is they have the ability to feel your pain and to connect with people. And there's a likability factor, right? Bill Clinton, whatever you think of President Clinton, former President Clinton, had a likability factor, right? He had a, he had a
cool.
feel your pain
he played
factor.
The saxophone.
And then there's, Hillary, I ain't no Tammy Wynette, stand by my man Clinton. So I read this stuff and I just sit there and go, I think, frankly, the more that Hillary talks, the better off we all are. Now, there are certain things with her. Look, I agree on her, policy towards Israel and things like that. So it's not like I totally disagree with policy positions, but I can support someone's policy positions without supporting the person. So.
Correct. And that's the thing is, even a broken clock is right twice a day. And so, hey, that's what I do. That's what I do. So yeah, it's, I think that, and it actually, as much as I dislike Hillary Clinton, generally speaking, it is also important for us to remember that not everyone
Excuse me, no one is all good. No one is all good and all bad. Not everyone.
Right. What did I say? Not everyone? No one? Yes.
Thank you. Do I get like a star in my corner for that?
A gold star for semantics.
I ain't got no good English, but that's okay.
Get it.
So but good grammar, okay, I could do that. But I just sit there. So
I like it.
Yeah. In any event, I want to segue because we're back on this WTO kick, and I want you to look up a name for me. I want you to look up Tanya Fernandez Anderson, who happens to be a Boston City Council member. So she's right up there. What's the Dalton Henyard? What's her name? The mayor. Yeah. So she's right up there with it. Now, first of all, she is the first illegal immigrant excuse me. Let me get this right. She is the first undocumented African-born immigrant and first Muslim elected in the city of Boston. She is off the.
Wait. She's not an American citizen?
You got to remember something. You have to remember something. The Constitution applies federally, and the Constitution does not say you have to be a citizen to vote. It leaves it up to the states. I mean, you have to be a U.S. citizen with certain requirements, right, to vote in federal election or hold federal office, right? But that's it. Other than that, it's silent, and it turns, and we're talking states' rights. So the city of Boston, and we're going to talk about D.C. City Council as well, because they have this whole same stuff going on. So you have this woman who's elected and who says that she wants to dismantle the white backdrop and create a revolution. And someone filed a complaint against her anonymously for a hostile, verbally abusive, and anti-Semitic environment, right? She is yelling and screaming at city public council meetings. She is saying stuff like, hang on, where are we? What the F do I have to do in this effing council to get respect as a black woman? I can't even call you guys cowards because desperation deserves mercy. Your votes here are sometimes racist. I am here to represent every black woman and man in the community. We should dismantle the white backdrop in America, and we should restructure it so that it's welcoming. So she wants a welcoming environment, but the way she's going about it doesn't seem very welcoming to me. It's just...
Well, and I call me crazy. Okay, now I understand we're not responsible for our family per se. However, Wikipedia says her husband is in jail for murder,
and she signs this ethics thing. She signs an ethics. Well, first of all, she would not take the pledge of office. Now, right? So hang on, let me get my facts straight because I know someone's going to call me. Who
are these people?
Somebody's going to. She infamously refused to swear the oath required of elected officials, pledging her allegiance to the United States and to carry out her duties with impartiality. Do you think that would have been your first clue?
What? I mean, again, I go back to the quote from last week. Okay, democracy is the idea that the people know what they want and they deserve to get it good and hard. Okay, people up in the Northeast.
Wait. I'm in the Northeast.
You want democracy so bad. You don't like our representative republic. Fine, y'all can go live on your own in California. I say we just annex California and let all the freaking socialists and communists move to California.
Well, I think we should find a way to have the San Andreas Fault sort of because you have to have a physical separation, right? So I mean, that's like, right? If you're not physically separated, well, we're divorced, but we're living in the same house. There's got to be a physical separation, right? So
why don't we send them to Canada?
Christi. I think that is a bonne idée. But so here's the other thing. She signs in, city's conflict of interest training.
Okay.
And pledge. Okay. And then right afterwards, she puts her sister and her son on the payroll. I mean, I shouldn't laugh because it's really sad, but you sit there and you wonder, what were these people thinking? She wants to defund the police, cut $30 million. I mean, I sit here and I look at these articles. And obviously, here's the other thing that they say about her is that she has spent the last 6 or 7 months has been so focused on passing resolutions condemning Israel that she hasn't been doing her job and hasn't been showing up. So she's sort of like, Hilliard. I just, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of Boston, where's the outrage? Well, first of all, who elected this mug?
They love it. Are you kidding me? They elected Michelle Wu, who's a psychopath. Okay, she was like, yeah, we should totally have segregated Christmas parties and segregated stuff. And what's the problem? I don't know what your problem is. We just accidentally invited you. I don't know why you're mad that you're being uninvited from the party that doesn't include white people.
Well, it is true that we are fast becoming, if we have not becoming, we have sort of regressed into a segregated nation in many respects, not everywhere and everything, but in terms of sort of, race relations, you can have all black or all, what was that acronym? BIPOC?
Oh, yeah. Because everyone who's not white is exactly the same.
And there's a bridge in Brooklyn.
Didn't you know that?
It's old, made of wood, but it's in really good condition. But
so here's my prediction.
Excuse me.
You ready for this?
Lord Benjamin, drum roll, please.
Where's my tinfoil hat? Okay, so I don't know. I know you probably haven't watched the show because you don't watch things that don't have dead people.
No, I only watch things that have dead people in it that's in black and white.
Right. So there was this show called The Handmaid's Tale, okay? And you've probably heard people, the Republicans are going to make The Handmaid's Tale come true. And stupid people were protesting outside of the Supreme Court with the little red
I did see that. I didn't see the movie,
But this is my theory, in fact. Okay, so the it takes place in the Northeast where these crazy people are. The Handmaid's Tale. It's all like in the Northeast.
Must be in Boston.
And this doesn't include you, Robert, because I know you're in New Hampshire. Yep. Oh, totally. So because all the Northeasterners are so crazy, and they don't believe in God.
That's not all of us up here.
Up to the point of birth, and
aren't you paying?
Everyone but New Hampshire,
Mr. Shepherd,
and Jay.
Of course. I mean, look. There are Republicans in Vermont. Yeah. I think Jay is one of two of them.
So this is what. But my point is, if The Handmaid's Tale comes true, it's going to be because of the left and not the right. They're the ones mandating all the and all this stuff that's caused an increase in miscarriages and birth defects and women not being able to conceive at all, which again is part of The Handmaid's Tale. And then you guys are discriminatory. You think it's cool to treat people like cattle. Like if we disagree with you, you don't matter. You're not a human being, which is how you can dehumanize people and treat them like cattle. So anyway, point is, tinfoil hat says, if Handmaid's Tale comes true, it is 100% going to be because of the left and people like Tanaya Fernandez Anderson and Michelle Wu's.
I think Councilwoman Anderson is a good example of they're intolerant. Look, that's why we've always argued that this whole wokeism, because that is vintage. I mean, can wokeism be vintage? Because it's probably too new to be vintage. But in any event, sort of an oxymoron. But it is vintage or doctrinaire, if you will, wokeism, where it's okay to be intolerant as long as you are faithful to the cause. It is only the unbelievers or the infidel or those who are kafir, right? If you're going into the Quran, the kafir are the unclean or unfaithful who do not listen to the word of God, or in this case, the word of the woke God, right? So in that case, it's okay, right? And
that's right.
The greatest transgressor and blasphemer who is not woke, who needs to be cast out, is Donald Trump, of course. And look, we've already established that no one is perfect and no one's all good and all bad, but Donald Trump is all bad, right? I mean, and I'm not saying that, but that's what. So therefore, because Donald Trump is all bad,
that's what they're saying.
Anything you do, even to sacrifice rule of law, impartiality of rule of law, even these political stunt trials. And because we're going to get, by the way, there's another segment, we're going to cover the whole classified documents thing, because they just discovered an email and a trove of information that shows that even the classified document sting was a setup, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Oh, no. This gets really deep.
Yeah.
This gets deep, but going.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Speaking of deep,
Muad'Dib.
Speaking of deep, the Israel-American relationship is pretty deep, and that's why we're going to be celebrating it on July 10th at
which
Israel
is a made-for-TV show going to be streamed on all the streaming channels like Roku, Dish, Apple TV. And folks, it's not a live event that happens to be streaming. It's a live TV event in front of an audience. Think of it like the Johnny Carson show, for those who remember. Roll them. Why Israel Appreciation Day? Because no one is telling the Israel story about why Israel's existence is so important, not just as a Jewish state and not just as an ally of the United States, but for all the positive achievements Israel has contributed to the world in science, technology, medicine, human rights, religious freedoms, rule of law, democracy, and so on. We need to start winning the public relations information war and change the narrative, especially among our younger generations. We need to get the information out there and arm those people who understand the seminal importance of Israel to the world. And being the Jewish homeland doesn't begin to tell that story of why Israel is so important. It's something we all can come together on, and honestly, it's something we all must come together on. It is imperative the general public understands the nature of the very special relationship between Israel and the United States and Israel's importance to the world. So please join us on July 10th in Washington, D.C. as we celebrate Israel Appreciation Day. For those who can't be there in person, we'll be streaming live on the web at israelappreciationday.com. Never again is now.